going to teach you how to play the base game for Marvel Zombies, a Zombicide game. One of the major game components is these seafoam green or chartreuse zombie hero miniatures. The base game comes with 6 of those. Then there are the blue-gray superhero miniatures. The base game comes with 6 of those. There are 12 of these light brown bystander models. Each one of them is different. Then there are 63 shield agent models composed of 5 different shield troopers. Now I must point out that I have the Kickstarter version of this game, so I believe that the regular version comes with cardboard standees, so if you see miniatures in mine, that's why. Shield guards, 2 specialists, and that was the mold count. There are actually 35 troopers, 14 guards, and 14 specialists. Comes with 9 double-sided tiles, 6 zombie hero ID cards, 45 zombie trait cards, 42 spawn cards, 16 bystander cards, 6 superhero cards, 1 Avengers sign reference card, a total of 41 tokens to reference the Avengers sign, intact and damaged, door tokens, open and closed, 14 of those, blue door token, 1, green door token, 1, objective tokens, red, 7, objective tokens, blue-red, 1, objective tokens, green-red, 1. First spawn point tokens, red-red, 5, spawn point tokens, blue-red, 1, spawn point tokens, green-red, 1. The exit token and activation tokens, 6. And I'm sorry, these are the 6 superhero cards. These are actually 6 superhero ID cards, which came with mine so I could play the hero mode instead of the zombie mode, which comes in the X-Men Resistance Marvel Zombies box. It also comes with 6 dashboards, 6 colored bases, 6 dice, and 12 tracker cubes. Marvel Zombies, a Zombicide game, is a cooperative game where 1 to 6 players control zombified superheroes facing off against shield agents and living superheroes controlled by the game itself. The goal is to complete mission objectives, defeat the enemies, and most importantly, satiate your ravenous hunger. Eliminating enemies and devouring bystanders makes you powerful, but the more danger you pose, the more forces are sent to hunt you. The ever-growing hunger makes you stronger, but if you don't feed it, it will consume your mind and body. Only by working together can the zombie heroes find the key to their salvation. Step 1 of setup is choosing a mission. Each mission can be played with zombie heroes, with additional instructions for 5 to 6 zombie heroes controlled by 1 to 6 players. Any mission may be played with fewer zombie heroes, but this increases the difficulty. And unless this video asks for something else, we will be doing Marvel Zombie Zero Tutorial Growing Hunger as the mission. Your next step is going to be placing the tiles as indicated by the mission map. So now that you got your tiles placed, step 3 will be place any spawn points and other tokens as well as any game pieces indicated by the mission. And each mission is going to have what you need listed here and pictures of where they will go. Now there is no start token, but that's just going to be where the heroes spawn in. I have my map set up with the proper tokens. Step 4, unless otherwise indicated by the mission, remove both secret mission cards from the bystander deck. Then place 1 random bystander card face down in each zone featuring the bystander icon. And those are visible on the map, right there. Your bystander cards are placed. Then you will take and separate the following card types identified by their unique card backs, shuffle each of these into their own deck, and place them face down near the board. This is step 5. One will be the spawn deck, another will be the superhero deck, the bystander deck, the zombie trait deck, and the Avengers sign reference card. Once all of those are shuffled, you're ready to move on to step 6. Then you will gather your number of zombie heroes chosen to play with, 4, 5, or 6, and distribute them among the players in any way they see fit. Players sit around the table in any order they choose, playing cooperatively against the game, forming a single team. Step 7 would be then each player taking 1 dashboard for each of their zombie heroes, placing it in front of them with the zombie hero's ID card on it. Make sure that the sliding tracker is on the 0 space of the blue area on the danger bar. This will lead you into Step 8. For each zombie hero, players take 2 tracker cubes of a color and base of the same color, and they place the tracker on the rightmost slot of their health bar, and another tracker on the 0 slot of their hunger track. Then attach the color base to the zombie hero game piece. And then Step 9 would be place the game pieces representing the chosen zombie heroes in a zombie starting zone indicated by the mission. Then each player takes 1 activation token, placing it with its green, unactivated side up next to their dashboard. Now for a quick game overview about winning and losing. The game is won immediately when all mission objectives have been completed. The game is lost at the end of any game round in which a zombie hero has been eliminated, or when a mission-specific losing condition is met. This is a cooperative game, so all players win and lose together. Now, Marvel Zombies, a Zombicide game, is played over a series of game rounds which proceed as follows. First is the player phase. This is a phase in which the zombie heroes perform various actions, such as moving across the game board, performing attacks, and devouring their enemies. That is followed by the enemy phase. Once all zombie heroes have activated, the player phase ends and the enemy phase begins. During this phase, any enemies currently on the game board attempt to eliminate the zombie heroes, and new enemies are spawned. And then the end phase happens. Each mission, and some skills, may list certain effects that happen during the end phase. Most importantly, if any zombie hero has been eliminated, the players immediately lose the game when the end phase is reached. Otherwise, once the end phase is completed, a new game round begins. And now I'm going to go over the basics, so before I get into specifics, here are some general rules that will aid every player. The first are some useful definitions. Enemy. This term refers to the various shield agents and superheroes. This term includes all troopers, guards, and specialists, as well as all superheroes. It does not include bystanders. So Thunderbolt Ross is not an enemy. Superhero. A living superhero spawned and controlled by the game to fight the players. Zombie hero. A zombie superhero controlled by the player. And then there's zone. Inside a building, a zone is a room. On the street, a zone is the area between 2 linear markings, or a linear marking and the board's edge, and the walls of buildings. So this here would be a zone. This up here, this main square, is a zone. This is a zone. This is a zone. Example. And here are some visual examples provided by the rulebook. This building would have 3 rooms forming 3 separate building zones. Then you have the street zone straddling 4 tiles. This is just a single zone. Then over here you'd have, this is a street zone determined by linear markings, a wall, and the board's edge. This is a building zone. The room is delineated by walls. And we have the street zone straddles 2 tiles here. And then right here is a big one. These 8 building zones form a single building straddling 2 tiles, but those are 8 different zones. And now we're going to talk about line of sight. Line of sight defines whether 2 elements on the game board, zombie heroes, enemies, bystanders, etc., can see each other. In street zones, line of sight is traced in straight lines that run parallel to the edges of the board. Line of sight cannot be traced diagonally. Elements have line of sight through as many zones as the line can pass through before reaching a wall or edge of the board. It is important to know that all zombie hero skills, traits, and abilities require line of sight unless specifically stated otherwise. So, for example, Hulk could see all the way across to this trooper here, but he could not see Thunderbolt Ross as the straight line cannot be traced. In building zones, line of sight can be traced to any room that shares an opening with the room the element is currently in. If there is an opening, the walls do not block line of sight between 2 zones. However, line of sight is limited to a distance of only 1 zone. So, for example, although there are open doors all the way down here, Hulk can only see this shield guard here, not Thor. Line of sight can be traced from inside a building out onto the street. Zones may be traced through any number of street zones in a straight line. Line of sight traced from a street zone into a building may only be traced by 1 zone into the building. So this shield guard can see the Hulk, but he could not see Thunderbolt Ross, even though there is an opening in a straight line. which brings you to the point that enemies, bystanders, and zombie heroes don't block line of sight. And now we'll get into movement. Game pieces, such as zombie heroes, enemies, and bystanders, can move from their zone to an adjacent one. An adjacent zone shares at least one unobstructed edge with their current zone. Corners do not count. This means no diagonal movements. In street zones, movement from one empty zone to another has no restrictions. However, game pieces must go through an open door or opening to move from a building zone to a street zone, and vice versa. In building zones, game pieces may move from one zone to another as long as their zones are linked by an opening, such as an open door. The position of game pieces in the zone and the layout of the walls do not matter as long as the zones share an opening. Zombie hero movement is hindered by enemies in their zone. And we'll go over this again during the player phase, but the example would be a zombie hero must spend one additional action per enemy standing in the zone they're attempting to leave. Movement is an action, and you have up to 3. And here is how you read an ID card. Each zombie hero has a unique ID card featuring the following information. First is their health. Each time a zombie hero is wounded, this track is reduced by 1. If it ever reaches the skull, 0, that zombie hero is eliminated. Over on this left-hand side is the hunger track. Representing the insatiable hunger for flesh, zombie heroes become more dangerous as their hunger level rises. However, if it gets too high, they become ravenous, losing all control. We will go over Ravenous later. The hunger track is important when a zombie hero is performing attack actions, which we will also go over later. And then on your zombie ID card you have their attacks. Each zombie hero has a unique attack as well as a common Devour attack. Attacks are described in detail later. Then over on the right hand side you have your skills. Each zombie hero has their own unique skills unlocked as they gain experience, which we will go over, but it's pretty self-explanatory here. There's blue, yellow, orange, and it just gets to red at the final spot. So there's blue, yellow, orange, red. And now we are going to talk about experience, danger level, and skills. Each time a zombie hero eliminates an enemy, they gain 1 experience point, or in this case of enemy superheroes, 1 experience point for each toughness they had. Their toughness represented by this heart in the upper right. Whenever experience is gained, advance that zombie hero's danger bar by that amount. Some missions may also provide additional ways to gain experience. There are a total of 4 danger levels on the danger bar: blue, yellow, orange, and red. Reaching a new danger level provides the zombie hero with new unlocked skills to help them on their mission. Gaining experience has a side effect, however. When players draw a spawn card, read the line that corresponds to the highest danger level achieved by any zombie hero. The more dangerous the zombie heroes become, the greater the forces sent to neutralize them. For example, this card spawns specialists, and it would be 4 specialists in red danger. And as you reach new danger levels, remember to reference your skills to see what those do for you. And now let's talk enemies. There are 4 types of enemies. Most enemies only have a single action they perform when they activate. The exceptions to this are specialists and superheroes, who each have 2 actions per activation. An enemy is eliminated as soon as it's assigned enough hits during a single attack action to match its toughness value. The zombie hero that eliminates the enemy gains 1 experience point, except in the case of superheroes, which grant experience equal to their toughness value. Your first type of enemy is the standard trooper. Wielding an electroshock baton, the shield trooper's real strength is in numbers. Keep your distance, though. You never know when they might open fire. 1 action, 1 toughness, 1 experience. Moving up in level, you have the guard. Packing electroshock gauntlets and heavy armor, it's hard to get past the shield guards to munch on the bystanders they sometimes escort around. 1 action, 2 toughness, 1 experience. Getting a little more dangerous, you have specialists. The elite shield specialists are fast and deadly, with jetpacks that allow them to drop right on top of unsuspecting zombies. 2 actions, 1 toughness, 1 experience. And then you have the superhero. Each superhero is powerful and unique, but they are all equally determined to stop the zombie invasion. Actions, 2. Toughness, times heart. Which what that means is right here, so Doctor Strange would have a toughness of 3. And that is specific to each superhero. You'll find that information on their card. Experience equal to their toughness. Each superhero also has a unique ability listed on their superhero card, which is in effect as long as they are on the board. Acts as a spawn point during the enemy phase. Now we're going to go over the player phase. During each player phase, the following steps must be taken in order. 1. Increase your hunger track. All heroes' hunger goes up by 1. 2. Refresh your activation tokens. All players flip their activation tokens to their green, unactivated side. And then 3. Activate your zombie heroes. All the zombie heroes are activated one by one each round. The players get to choose the order in which to activate each zombie hero. During their turn, a zombie hero can perform up to 3 actions at blue danger level. Not counting any free action their blue level skill might give them. The actions available to a zombie hero are as follows. Move. The zombie hero moves from their zone to an adjacent zone. They cannot move diagonally through walls or closed doors. A zombie hero must spend 1 additional action per enemy standing in the zone they're attempting to leave. So with his first action, Hulk would move here, and with his second and third action, because there is an enemy here, he would move to that tile. I'm sorry, let me go over that again. That is an improper example because entering a zone containing enemies ends a zombie hero's move action. It's important for skills and effects that allow zombie heroes to move multiple zones per move action. So for Hulk's action here, it would be 1, 2, and then he would stop. Now if he had started the turn here, it would be 1, 2, and then 3. Another action you can perform is Open Door. The zombie hero breaks open a door in their zone. Place a door token on its open side where the door was, or in this case, if there was already a closed door token there, simply flip it to its open side. This is a closed door. That is an open door. And note that open doors cannot be closed again. And red is your standard door. Some missions, they do feature colored doors. Usually these cannot be opened until some condition is met, like finding a specific objective. Read the mission and description to learn more about those. And it's important to note that opening a building for the first time reveals all enemies and bystanders waiting inside. We'll explain this in the spawning in buildings portion of this video. And another action you can take is Gain Trait. The player draws the top card from the zombie trait deck and places it in one of its 2 zombie trait slots on the zombie hero's dashboard. A zombie hero can only perform a single Gain Trait action per turn, though other effects might grant them extra zombie trait cards. Note that each zombie hero may only have up to 2 zombie traits at any time. If they already have 2 when they draw a new one, they may discard the newly drawn trait or discard and replace one of the 2 on their dashboard. If the trait deck ever runs out, reshuffle all discarded cards to make a new deck. Zombie traits have powerful effects but are discarded after a single use. Each zombie trait has specific instructions for its effects, so read each one carefully. 2 traits can be used together if their requirements are met. We'll go over combat a bit later, but another action you can take is Attack. The zombie hero attacks an enemy or bystander if they are able to target. Combat will be explained later. And another action is Interact with Objective. The zombie hero takes and or activates an objective in their zone. The specific effects of doing this are detailed in the mission description. And keep in mind, End of Turn is also an action you can take. A zombie hero does not need to perform all their actions if they wish, and may forfeit any remaining actions at the end of their turn. Once a zombie hero has completed all their actions or forfeited any remaining ones, their turn will end. Flip their activation to the red side to indicate this. But remember that if you are acting Ravenous, while a zombie hero still retain most of their brain functions, they can only be blinded by their insatiable hunger. While Ravenous, the only actions they may perform are Move and Devour. This includes free actions. The enemy phase. Once all players have activated their zombie heroes, the player phase ends and the enemy phase begins. No single player controls the enemies. They do it themselves, performing the following steps in order. Number 1, activate enemies. All enemies on the board activate and spend their actions to either attack a zombie hero in their zone or move towards the closest zombie hero if not currently in a zone with one. Any bystanders on the board also activate, either trying to flee via a spawn zone or hunting the zombie heroes if they are combat bystanders. We will talk about that during activating bystanders. Then, step 2 would be spawn enemies. After all activations are done, new enemies appear on all active spawn points on the board. So, going over step 1, activate enemies. The first thing you would check for is attack. Each enemy in the same zone as a zombie hero spends their action to perform an attack. An enemy's attack is always successful, does not require any dice rolls, and inflicts 1 wound. The zombie heroes in the zone share wounds in any way the players prefer, even if it means inflicting them all onto a single zombie hero. When a zombie hero is wounded, their health bar's tracker is moved 1 space to the left per wound they receive. A zombie hero is eliminated as soon as their health bar reaches 0. If this happens, the game will be lost during the next end phase. Enemies fight together. All enemies activated in the same zone as a zombie hero join the attack, even if there are so many wounds being dealt that it would be overkill. Now, if there were no enemies to attack, enemies that did not attack because there were no zombie heroes in their zone spend their action to move 1 zone towards zombie heroes. Enemies always move toward the closest zone with zombie heroes in their line of sight. If the enemy does not have line of sight to any zombie hero, they move toward the zone with zombie heroes they have the shortest open path to. If there are no open paths to zombie heroes, the enemies do not move. If there is more than 1 closest zone with zombie heroes, or more than 1 route of the same length to the closest zone, enemies split into groups of equal numbers separated by type to follow all possible routes. If it's not possible to split an enemy type into groups of equal number, the players decide the group gets the extra enemy. Enemies cannot open doors. So, for example, here we have this group of 3 enemies. They can't decide equally to go after Captain America or Hulk, but we see that Captain America's dealt with Doctor Strange during an attack, so we're going to send the extra enemy toward the Hulk and not bunch up Captain America with more guys. Now keep in mind, specialists and superheroes are different than the guards and troopers. They each have 2 actions per activation. Each time they activate, they perform 1 action, either attacking or moving with the rest of the enemies, and perform their second action, either attacking if they're now in a zone with a zombie hero, or moving again if they're still not in a zone with a zombie hero. So, Captain America, sorry, but you're getting the example again, is going to be within range of both actions. So there's the first action is move, and then they would both attack. He receives 2 wounds. And then you have these spawn enemies, and the mission map shows where enemies spawned at the end of each enemy phase. These are spawn points. There's 1 up here and 1 here, and because Doctor Strange is on the board, he acts as a spawn point. Starting with the first spawn point token, then proceeding clockwise, draw 1 spawn card, reading the line that corresponds to the danger level of the zombie hero with the most experience, blue, yellow, orange, or red. Place the indicated amount of the corresponding enemy type in that spawn zone. So for example, a blue danger level means 1 specialist would spawn there. Then there are colored spawn points in some missions. They feature a blue and or green colored spawn point token unless otherwise stated. These zones don't spawn enemies until a specific event happens dictated by the mission. These zones will only begin spawning enemies when the conditions are met. If the spawn deck should run out, reshuffle all the discarded spawn cards to make a new deck. The spawn deck features various types of spawn cards. A regular spawn. This would just be a regular spawn here. It spawns specialists, and the danger levels represent what it does. There are yellow background rush cards. When a player draws an enemy rush card, the enemies placed by that card immediately perform an activation after being placed. There are red-backed extra activation cards. When a player draws an extra activation card, instead of spawning new enemies, all enemies of the listed type are immediately activate, performing their actions as usual. A silhouette of a person with crossed arms is an escorted bystander. When a player draws an escorted bystander card, draw the top card from the bystander deck. Again, that's the bystander deck. Spawning the indicated bystander along with the number of guards listed on the spawn card. Then you'll keep the bystander card that was drawn face up next to the board, with the escorted bystander card tucked under it to help identify it. See the special activation rules for escorted bystanders later on in this video. If the bystander deck should run out, reshuffle any discarded bystander cards to make a new deck. It seems you weren't really finished with them after all. And again, another mistake I made during the extra activation, which is red backed. This would say extra activation. What I did show as an example was a special action card, which also have red backs. There's a few special action cards in the spawn deck. Each one details its specific instructions when it's drawn. And then you have the superhero, which is a silhouette of a person with a star on their chest. When a player draws a superhero spawn card, draw the top card from the superhero deck, spawning the indicated superhero in that zone. Note that each superhero has a unique ability that is active as long as they are in play and specific toughness value, so keep their superhero card face up within view of all players. If the superhero deck should run out, reshuffle all the discarded superhero cards to make a new deck. Looks like they didn't really die after all. Now, in the unlikely event that you run out of enemies, players may run out of the game pieces of the indicated type when required to place an enemy on the game board. In this case, the remaining enemies of that type are placed, if there are any. Then all enemies of the indicated type immediately resolve an extra activation. Multiple extra activations may occur in a row. Keep an eye on the enemy population. Now we're going to go over spawning in buildings. Opening a closed building for the first time reveals all enemies and bystanders waiting inside. A single building extends to all rooms connected by openings, sometimes straddling several tiles. Closed doors create separations between buildings. Enemies waiting in a building only spawn in the zones marked with the triangle with the exclamation point in it. Draw and resolve one spawn card for each of these zones, one after the other, in any order the players choose. It is suggested starting from the farthest to the closest. Once all enemies have been spawned, reveal any bystander card inside that building, replacing it with the corresponding bystander game piece and placing the card face up next to the board. So, Hulk opens this door, we'll just say a single trooper spawned, and then that would be all the spawn points in there. There's the objective token, there's the bystander, which would be Thunderbolt Ross, who gets placed there, and then his card is next to the board. And now let's talk combat. When a zombie hero performs an attack action, they use either their unique attack, listed on their ID card, or the generic Devour attack. All attacks feature the following information. Type. Attacks fall into two categories, melee or ranged. The melee and ranged symbols are used to distinguish each type. Some skills or effects might interact with these types specifically. Hulk has melee. Melee attacks are identified by a melee symbol, which in this case is a clenched fist, and can only be used against targets in the same zone. Ranged attacks, represented here by the not as cool as Hulk and never going to be as cool as Hulk Iron Man, ranged attacks are identified by the range symbol and can target enemies in distant zones within line of sight. The actual range of that attack is represented by this arrow. It indicates the distance to the zone or zones the attack can target. If the value of 0 limits the melee attack to the same zone. Ranged attack usually display two values. The first is the minimum range. The attack cannot target zones closer than the minimum. The value is usually 0, meaning it can target enemies in the same zone. It is still a ranged attack. The second value shows the maximum range of that attack. It cannot target zones beyond this maximum range. Next is self-explanatory. Dice. Each attack lists the base number of dice it rolls, though bonus dice can be added by the game's effects, such as the hunger level. And then finally, this crosshair is the accuracy. Each die result that equals or exceeds the accuracy value scores 1 hit. To resolve an attack, perform the following steps in order. Number 1 is always target zone. Select one zone within the range listed on the attack. Remember, you must also always have line of sight to your target. You can use a ranged attack to target another zone, even if there are enemies in your zone. Any enemies in a zone between you and your target zone are also irrelevant. Remember that for ranged attacks in building zones, line of sight is limited to the zones that share an opening and is limited to one zone max, even if your range is higher than that. Line of sight for street zones go in a straight line parallel to the board's edge until it meets a wall or edge. Hulk's Smash has 3 dice. So we're just going to say his hunger level is at 0, but when you roll dice, roll the listed number of dice plus any additional dice from zombie traits, bystanders, skills, or hunger levels. Then the third step is assign hits. Assign any hits scored to the targets in the zone attacked, always following target priority, which we will go over next. But Hulk was looking for 4s or higher. He rolled 2 5s. This dude is dead. Target priority would actually be this. When attacking, whether with melee or ranged, hits must be assigned according to target priority order. Number 1 being superheroes, followed by guards, then troopers, then specialists, and bystanders, devour only. Bystanders can only be assigned hits by the devour attack. They are ignored by other attacks since they are too valuable as a food source to keep eliminating. The hits must be assigned to targets on the first target priority level until they have all been eliminated, then to targets on the next target priority level until they have been eliminated, and so on. Example, superheroes first, specialists last. If several targets share the same target priority level, players choose the targets to hit among them. And note that other zombie heroes in your zone, Deadpool was there the whole time, are not affected by your attacks. Even if you miss, you may be a zombie, but you're still a mighty hero. Enemies are eliminated when they are assigned a number of hits equal to their toughness value. Remember that troopers and specialists have a toughness value of 1, guards have a toughness of 2, and superheroes have their toughness listed on their card. Enemies are only eliminated when they are assigned enough hits to equal their toughness during a single attack action. If not enough hits are rolled to eliminate them, the assigned hits do not carry over. It's an all or nothing attack. And remember that you get experience equal to the toughness of superheroes and 1 experience for everything else. Sometimes bystanders are mission specific for experience. Now, Devour is a special melee attack that all zombie heroes have access to. When selected, it functions just like any other melee attack with the following exceptions. Once the attack is completed, if it eliminated a target, that zombie hero reduces their hunger track back down to 0. So we'll say Hulk successfully devoured Thunderbolt Ross, and his hunger would drop back down to 0. Each Devour attack may only ever eliminate a single target. This means that any hits rolled in excess of the first target's toughness are lost, as only 1 target can be eliminated. Unlike regular attacks, Devour can target bystanders following the target priority order. Devouring a bystander is a very special treat for zombie heroes. Just to reiterate, since I stuttered there on my speech a little bit, Devour can target bystanders, but still follow target priority order. And now we will talk about the hunger. Driven by an insatiable need to devour living flesh, the hunger is what drives zombie heroes. While it has many drawbacks, it also offers powerful advantages. The hunger track shows how hungry the zombie hero is. Each zombie hero's hunger track automatically increases by 1 at the start of a player phase. When performing attacks, whether melee or ranged, and including Devour, a zombie hero must roll additional dice equal to their hunger value. So, with Hulk having a hunger value of 1, his smash would go up to 4 dice. Each time a zombie hero attacks, after the attack has been resolved, for each set of teeth that was rolled, after any rerolls, their hunger track increases by 1. Note that a successful Devourer always reduces the track to 0, effectively ignoring any teeth rolled during that Devour. Once the hunger track reaches the maximum, that hero becomes Ravenous. We will go over that in just a moment. If you are Ravenous, any effects that increase your hunger are ignored. Several skills and effects state to increase hunger to gain a benefit. Unless otherwise stated, such increases are always by 1. If a zombie hero's hunger track is already at maximum, they may not use effects that say increase hunger to do such and such. The Hulk's hunger has reached 4, his maximum, and now we have a ravenous Hulk on our hands. If a zombie hero goes too long without devouring flesh, they run the risk of becoming ravenous and reverting to an almost mindless state. While ravenous, the following rules apply. The only actions a ravenous zombie may perform are move and the devour attack. They may not perform their unique attack. This also means they cannot interact with objectives, open doors, gain trait, etc. And many skills and abilities tied to increasing hunger or performing regular attacks become unusable. At the end of their turn, if a zombie hero is ravenous, they suffer 1 automatic wound. As soon as the zombie hero's hunger is decreased below 4, they are no longer ravenous. Let's talk about bystanders. First, devouring a bystander. Bystanders represent key living targets for the zombie heroes to devour. Bystanders are either placed during setup or can be spawned via the escorted bystander card. They have numerous special rules that are outlined. Number 1, being bystanders cannot be eliminated by regular attacks. The only way to eliminate them is by performing a devour attack against them that generates at least 1 hit. When this happens, the zombie hero who devoured them gains their unique bystander card, placing it in the left slot of their dashboard. Now, unlike zombie traits, bystander cards are typically not discarded upon use, but instead offer a permanent ability for the zombie hero. For example, Thunderbolt Ross. Once during your turn, you may increase hunger to push all enemies in your zone into an adjacent zone. A zombie hero may only have 1 bystander card at any time. Should they devour another bystander, they may replace the old card with the new one or discard the new one. Devouring a bystander typically does not award any experience, but some missions might modify this. You can also activate bystanders. During the enemy phase, a bystander acts differently depending on whether they have a combat capability or not, which is indicated by the presence of a fist on their card. Thunderbolt Ross is a combat bystander. Combat bystanders actively hunt zombie heroes during the enemy phase. They have 1 action, just like troopers, and function pretty much the same way, although they are not affected by any spawn cards such as extra activation, rush, etc. They are activated with the enemies performing an attack or move as described in the Activate Enemies section. Non-combat bystanders, such as poor old Aunt May here, will try and escape the game board during the enemy phase. They also have 1 action or are activated along with enemies, following most of the same basic rules. However, they never attack. They may only perform a move action. Instead of moving towards zombie heroes, they take the shortest possible route to the closest spawn zone. Their movement is not hindered by the presence of zombie heroes in their zone. If they enter a spawn zone, they are immediately removed from the game board and their card is discarded. And during the non-combat bystanders, there's also the escorted bystanders. When a bystander is spawned as an escorted bystander, that overrides their movement behavior. Escorted bystanders always move with the guards in their zone towards zombie heroes. If the guards get an extra activation, the escorted bystander activates with them. Combat bystanders attack along with their guard escort. An escorted bystander does not move if there are no guards in their zone, though combat bystanders still attack. If there are no guards in an escorted bystander's zone at the end of the enemy phase, spawn 1 guard there. Non-combat bystanders are not removed from the board if their guard escort happens to lead them over a spawn zone. There are several interactive objects in the game. Missions might include interactive objects on the map, while in a zone with an interactive object, zombie heroes may use them to perform a special ranged attack. Each interactive object is different, so see associated reference cards. Marvel Zombies features 1 interactive object, the Fallen Avengers sign, but some expansions may have others. For this one, the Avengers sign has the following abilities. The reference card has a ranged attack. Roll 1 die for each enemy in the targeted zone. Heroes are ignored for this attack. Flip the token to its damage side after the first use. Remove it after the second use. Now you'll notice that the die symbol has an asterisk. What that means is you roll 1 die for each enemy in the targeted zone. Superheroes are ignored for this attack because bonus dice such as those granted by hunger do not apply. The Avengers sign may be used twice. After the first time it's used, place the token in the targeted zone and flip it over to its damage side to show that it's been used once. Remove it from the game board after the second time it's been used. There's the 2 states of the token. And that is everything you need to know to play Marvel Zombies Zombicide in the Zombie Mode game. The base game has 10 Zombie Mode missions. My version has a few Hero Mode missions, which is where you play, I believe I have 5 in the Hero Mode. I'm not going to go over the rules for those because I know those rules are not included in every game. I may make another video for that, but that is how you play Marvel Zombies, a Zombicide game. Remember that it is a cooperative game, everybody works together, and if any of you die, you all lose. There are several expansions to this game because it would not be a cool Mini or Not Kickstarter if there wasn't a bunch of expansions and add-ons. I'll go over some of those as I open them or play them, but that is what you'll get in the base box. And again, it may be cardboard standees instead of miniatures for the regular version.